This is the video for the June 2023 Regents exam for Algebra, and this is the short response. Question number 25 is a 2-credit short response. We're solving for x. You want to try and get that x all by itself. In order to do that, we need to get rid of these parentheses first by distributing and distributing. So negative 2.4 times x is negative 2.4x. Negative 2.4 times 1.4 is negative 3.36. When we write it, we write minus 3.36. You now want to get all your letters onto one side and your plain numbers onto the other. You have your choice on how you want to do this. I want to try and get rid of the smaller of the two x values. So that way you'll work with less negatives. So I'm going to do plus 2.4x and plus 2.4x. Bring down my negative 3.36. Add those together to be 9.2x, bring down your minus 22.68. Instead of doing the plus 2.4x, I could have added 3.36 to both sides. I could have subtracted 6.8 from both sides. I could have added 22.68 to both sides. You have your choice. I did it this way, so now I'm going to solve this two-step equation. Add 22.68 to both sides, divide by 9.2, and you get an answer of 2.1. In question number 26, the function f of x is graphed on the set of axes below. State the zeros of f of x. The zeros are the x-intercepts. It's where the graph crosses the x-axis. So it crosses, remember, zeros mean x-intercepts, roots, and solutions. The zeros, or x-intercepts, are negative 2, 2, and 3. There's 3 different answers there. 1, 2, 3. Explain your reasoning. All that you have to say is that those are the x-intercepts of the graph, or where the graph crosses the x-axis. 1 credit for this, for the 3 numbers. 1 credit for the x-intercepts, or where it crosses the x-axis. Number 27, Brianna creates the pattern of blocks shown in her art class. How are you getting from picture to picture to picture to picture? Well, we're adding by 2, adding by 2, adding by 2. A friend tells her that the number of blocks in the pattern is increasing exponentially. Is her friend correct? No, she is not. Explain your reasoning. Adding by 2 each time is linear. It is not exponential. Exponential means multiplying by the same number each time. Linear means adding or subtracting by the same number, and she's adding by 2 each time. In question number 28, the data set, blah, 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 represents the number of books purchased by 9 book club members in a year. Create a box plot. A box plot is a box and whisker plot for the data. What you want to do to get your 5-number summary, all right, your 5-number summary, I forgot to write the word max here. Your 5-number summary is your min, your Q1, your median, your Q3, and your max, all right? When you do your 5-number summary, you get it from stat edit L1. We want to type that data into stat edit L1, stat calc 1 variable statistics. Our min is 4, our Q1 is 18, our median is 28, our Q3 is 46, and our max is 56. You connect the min and the Q1, your Q3 and your max, and then we draw a box right here connecting those. So that is your box and whisker plot. I think it's helpful to write in the numbers along the number line, but you don't have to do that. In question number 29, express a squared plus b in standard form. Standard form means your biggest exponent first. So a squared is going to be x plus 5 squared. That's x plus 5 times x plus 5. Do FOIL. All right, when we do FOIL, we get x squared plus 10x plus 25 plus your b value. Your b value is x squared minus 18. So we have this trinomial plus this. When we add those together, 1x squared plus 1x squared is 2x squared. Adding together are like terms. 25 plus negative 18 is positive 7. So as a final answer, we get 2x squared plus 10x plus 7. We have to make sure that it's in that order because it says in standard form. In question number 30, we have relation 1 and relation 2. Explain how you could change each relation so that they each become a function. So you have to have two separate answers here. One answer for relation one answer for relation two. In relation one, how can we make it a function? It is not a function right now. Neither one are a function right now. To make it a function, it's this problem right here. All right. You can't have two dots right directly above each other. Well, how could we make it a function? We could make one of them become an open dot. That way we wouldn't have two dots right directly above each other. So either change 420 or 430 to an open dot, and that way it becomes a function. In relation to, you can't have two x values the same. So in order to get one of them different, we could change, for example, the -4 to be a -3 or whatever number that you want, as long as it's not -5, -2, -1, or -4. You could change it to a 7 if you wanted to. Or you could just say, get rid of this point altogether. If we get rid of that point altogether, it becomes a function because all the x values have to be different. You can't have two x values that are the same. In question number 31, they have one of these all the time. You have to factor out the greatest common factor first. What's the biggest number that goes into 2? 16 and -18 is a 2. So I can factor that out. When I factor that out, I need to put all the leftovers inside the parentheses. So when I do distribute, 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times 8x is 16x. 2 times -9 is -18. Now I want to do reverse FOIL to this trinomial. What times what is -9? That adds up to +8. It's +9 and -1. Don't forget to bring down this 2 right here out in front, and that's your final answer factored completely. In question number 32, solve this quadratic for all values of d, rounding to the nearest 10th. To the nearest 10th is 1 decimal place. Easiest way to do it is to do the quadratic formula. Your a value is 3, your b value is -8, your c value is 3. The negative b is negative of -8, which is +8, plus or minus b squared. Be very, very careful right here. -8 squared. You have to put it inside parentheses if you're typing it into the calculator. -8 squared is -8 times -8, which is a +64. If you type it into the calculator without the parentheses, you're going to get a -64 there, which is wrong. -4 times a times c, so times 3 times 3. You get -36 there, over 2 times a. 2 times 3 is 6. 64 minus 36 is 28. We can split it right there. We don't have to put it in simplest radical form. You're changing it into a decimal. So split it right there. If you try to type this whole thing and this whole thing into the calculator at once, you need to put parentheses around the numerator. We have 8 plus radical 28 divided by 6, 8 minus radical 28 divided by 6. You get 2.2 and 0.5. In question number 33, graph the absolute value of x plus 1. Now, the absolute value is by hitting second 0, which is second and catalog for your ABS. When you graph that, hit second in table, and this is what your graph looks like. This is our first 4 credit question, by the way. This is what your graph looks like. Make sure you have arrows on the ends and label it. And g of x, type it into your y equals, hit second in table, and you get this upside down parabola. Arrows on the ends and label it. Very, very important there. The second part of this says, based on your graph, determine all the values of x for which they're equal. They're equal at the intersection points. They're equal here and here. That's at x equals 0 and x equals 5, because those are the intersection points. In question number 34, Jen recorded temperatures over a 24-hour period. Her data is graphed on this graph. State the entire interval for which it is increasing. It is increasing right here on the graph. Well, that's in between hour 6 and hour 12. State the 3-hour interval that has the greatest rate of change. The greatest rate of change is the steepest part of the graph. The steepest part of the graph is right here. I should probably use a different color. The steepest part of the graph is right here in between hour 9 and hour 12. Now, the greatest rate of change could be going down as well. Could be the steepest part going down as well, but that's the steepest part of the graph in between 9 and 12. State the average rate of change. Average rate of change, we do how much it changes over what period of time. From hour 12 to hour 24. So from here to here. So the time is easy. The time changes by 12 hours, going from 12 to 24. How much does our graph change? It goes from 92. Oh, that should say 92. Careful. It goes from 92 to 76. All right, that's wrong there. All right, let me change that. It goes from 92 to 96, from 92 to 76. All right. So it goes down by 18. 92 minus 76 is 18. I wrote negative 18 because it's going down. All right. I know that 92 minus 76 is positive 18, but we need to reflect that it's going down. A positive 18 would mean that it's going up. So that is negative 18 over 12. Negative 18 divided by 12 is negative 1.5. Be very, very careful right there. You saw that I made a mistake even. So it's going down. Explain what this means in the context of the problem. In the context of the problem, the temperature is going down 1.5 degrees every hour. That's what that negative 1.5 means. You actually found it per hour. One credit, one credit, one credit, one credit for the explanation. Be very careful there. Hard question. In question number 35, solve the system of inequalities, label the solution set S, and then there's a part down here at the bottom. We need to rearrange these equations for y equals. We need to get the y all by itself. Minus 2x minus 2x. You can't do a plain number minus an x, but we can switch around the order. Bring down your 3y, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. We end up with y is greater than or equal to negative 2/3 x minus 2. When we go to graph it, type that into your y equals, second in table for your points. It is a solid line because of the or equal to. We're shading above because it's greater than. Make sure you have your arrows and make sure that you label it. For the second equation, we want to try and get the 3y all by itself. So minus 6 and minus 6. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. There's really a 1 in front of that x. That's how it becomes 1/3. So then we have 1/3 x minus 2 is less than y. When we graph these type of equations, we need the y coming first. We need the y on the left-hand side. So we need to flip everything around, including the sign. So that becomes y is greater than 1/3 x minus 2. Dotted line to connect the dots, second in table. And then dotted line to connect the dots, shading above because it's greater than. It's dotted because there's no or equal to. Arrows on the ends and label it. That creates a double shaded area up top here. Label the solution set with an S. All right. We have to put a big S in the double shaded area. Is the point 4 comma negative 2 in the solution set? That's this point right here, over to 4, down to negative 2. No, it is not. Explain your answer. It's not in the double shaded area. It's a solution to the red, but it's not a solution to the blue. Don't forget to label your S. In question number 36, Susanna collected some information. Write the linear regression equation. First of all, go to your mode button and turn on the stat diagnostics. Stat edit L1 and L2, type in your data, stat calc number 4 for linear regression. When you do that, you have to write the linear regression equation. Equations have equal signs. You have to have a y equals. So y equals 184.89x minus 1706.07. It did say round your answer to the nearest hundredth. That's 2 decimal places. You have to have your y equals because it says an equation. Then in the second part, state the correlation coefficient. That's your R value and round to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimal places. That's R equals 0.99. Explain what the correlation coefficient represents about the linear fit of the data in the context of the problem. You have to talk about the word problem. They're talking about height and weight. Well, that's a strong positive correlation. That's not what it's asking you this time because it says about the correlation of, or in the context of the problem, they want you to talk about height and weight. As the one is increasing, the other is increasing. That's what they want there in the context of the problem. And then we have the 6-pointer. Dana went shopping for plants. She bought 3 roses and 2 daisies for $31.88. They want you to use R for roses, D for daisies. So 3R plus 2D, $31.88. Later that day, she went back and she bought 2 roses and 1 daisy for $18.92. 2R plus 1D equals $18.92. Solve for the cost of 1 rose and 1 daisy. I'm going to multiply to create opposites. I see that I have a 1D here. The opposite of 2 is -2. So to get a -2 here, I would have to multiply that bottom equation by -2. Distribute, distribute, distribute. I could have made opposites with my R's if you wanted to and create a 6R and a -6R by multiplying by 2 and -3. Distribute, 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 distribute. I created opposites with my D's. So now I'm going to add going down and those D's will cancel out. 3R plus -4R is -1R. 31.88 plus -37.84 is -5.96. Divide by -1, you get that the cost of 1 rose is 5.96. To solve for D, you need to take that 596 and sub it in for R into one of the equations. I chose the second one. You could have chose the first one if you wanted to. 2 times 596 is 1192 plus 1D equals 1892. Get the D all by itself, minus 1192 from both sides. Divide by 1, you get D equals 7. So 1 rose is 596, 1 daisy is $7. In the third part, if Dana had waited until the plants were on sale, she would have paid $4.50 for each rose and $6.50 for each daisy. Determine the amount of money she would have saved buying all of her flowers during the sale. So $4.50 times 5, because it says that she bought 5 of them. 5 of them total. Where am I getting that from? 3 roses and 2 roses up in the top here. She bought 3 daisies total. So 450 times 5, 650 times 3. That gives you 42. $42 that she would have paid. You also have to figure out how much she paid actually. Well, 5 times 596 is 31.88. Or sorry, we could just take the two amounts. We could do 5 times 596 and 3 times $7 as well. Either way, she paid 5, 8, 50, 80. I could have just taken these two amounts right here and did it. So that's where I got the 50, 80 from. 50, 80 minus the $42 that she would have paid if she would have bought them on sale. That means she would have saved 880. All right, that little last part is a little complicated there. Here's the scale score. You needed 27 credits to pass.